Age 22, the point of divergence. You are 22 years old. You have $1,140 in your checking account. Two paths diverge here. Both start with the same first paycheck, $1,847 after taxes. Path A, the builder. You skip the new car and rent a room in a shared apartment for $740 a month. On a Sunday night, you open a Roth IRA. The balance is $0. You fund it with $200. It feels like nothing, but you set up an automated recurring transfer for the day after payday. You never see the money leave. That's the point. You build a spreadsheet with 3 columns: income, fixed costs, and discretionary. You eat at home 6 nights a week, not out of pure discipline, but because the math demands it. By the end of year 1, you have $2,400 in your Roth IRA and $1,900 in a high-yield savings account, earning 4.6% APY. You built your emergency fund first. Path B, the spender. With that same $1,847, you buy a car on a 72-month loan. The payment is $387, and insurance is $194. You tell yourself you need the car, but the high-end trim was optional. You chose it anyway. You rent a 1-bedroom apartment for $980 because you want your own space. You eat out 4 nights a week, including a $41 Sunday brunch that lasts 2 hours. You deposit $100 into savings, but 3 weeks later, you transfer $80 back to buy a concert ticket. By the end of year 1, you have $220 in savings and $1,340 in credit card debt at 24.99% APR. You pay the minimum. Age 23 to 24. Habits solidify. Path A, the builder. You get a $2,100 raise. You don't upgrade your life, you upgrade your investments. You increase your Roth IRA contribution to $350 a month. You learn about expense ratios and move your money into a total market index fund with a 0.03% fee. By 24, you have $9,800 in your Roth IRA. When the market dips and your balance falls to $7,200, you don't panic, you buy more. Not because of courage, but because you understand what you own. Your emergency fund hits $4,500, covering 3 months of expenses. Every dollar above that now goes into a taxable brokerage account. Path B, the spender. You get the same $2,100 raise. You upgrade your apartment. The new rent is $1,240. You buy a $1,400 couch on a buy now, pay later plan with 0% interest for 12 months. You forget the deadline and the interest kicks in retroactively. Your credit card balance grows to $2,800. You open a second card, a rewards card, spending $4,000 in 3 months just to hit the sign-up bonus. By 24, you have $4,200 in consumer debt and a car loan of $19,100. Your savings account holds $440. You have a plan to start an emergency fund next month. You don't. The gap at age 24. Builder net worth, approx $14,300, 0 debt. Spender net worth, approx negative $22,860, heavy debt. The distance between you is $37,160, driven by 4 different decisions and $187 a month. Age 25 to 27, the first bastion. Path A, the builder. At 25, you move to a slightly better room for $890. You enroll in the company 401k to get the full 4% employer match. You refuse to leave free money on the table. Your total monthly investment is now $680. At 27, using $21,500 saved over 19 months, you close on a duplex for $107,500. You live in one unit and rent the other for $710. After the mortgage, taxes, and a 10% maintenance reserve, you net $614 a month in cash flow. It's not passive, you handle the repairs, but the math is real. Path B, the spender. At 25, your salary hits $52,000, but your lifestyle grows faster. You put a $2,100 Cancun trip on a credit card. At 26, you get a promotion to $58,000 and celebrate with a $44 per entree dinner. You justify it by earning points. Your car loan ends, so you immediately lease a new one for $421 a month. By 27, you have $6,800 in credit card debt and pay $1,340 a month in debt servicing and subscriptions alone. You finally put 2% into a 401k, leaving the other 2% of the employer match untouched. That's $1,160 in free money you walked away from this year. Age 28 to 30. Quiet compounding versus quiet erosion. Path A, the builder. At 28, your Roth and brokerage hold $47,200, and your 401k has $22,400. Total invested, $69,600. The compounding is quiet. The numbers just change every time you look. At 30, you buy a second property, a triplex. Between the two properties, your monthly real estate cash flow is $1,481. Path B, the spender. At 29, a relationship ends, and you're stuck with a $1,580 apartment alone. The math barely works. You have $9,200 in card debt and zero savings. You cash out $4,000 from your 401k to cover an emergency, losing 10% to penalties and more to taxes. At 30, your net worth is negative $14,000. You stop looking at the numbers because looking won't make it better. The midpoint gap at age 30. The distance between you is now $148,000. At a 7% return, the builder's $134,000 net worth will become $537,000 in 20 years without adding another cent. The spender's negative $14,000 costs money every month just to exist. Age 31 to 40, the end game. Path A, the builder. At 37, you sell your first duplex and roll the $74,000 gain into a 4-unit property via a 1031 exchange to avoid capital gains tax. By 40, your net worth is $1.068 million. Your real estate produces $2,701 in monthly income. You can cover your mother's $3,200 care costs from cash flow without stress. You have optionality. At 44, your investments will replace your salary entirely. Path B, the spender. At 40, your net worth is $58,700, mostly locked in a 401k you can't touch for 20 years. Your rent is $2,040 and rising. You still carry $2,400 in card debt at 21% interest. You aren't lazy. You worked every day for 18 years. But the system you built at 22 was a spending system, and systems compound. Conclusion. The weight of $187. At age 40, the distance between these two people is over $1 million. 18 years ago, they had the same paycheck, the same desk, and the same cracked coffee mug. One of them redirected $187 before the weekend, before the coffee, and before the lifestyle creep. The other didn't. Tuesday always comes for both of them, but only one of them was ready. Are you building a system or are you fueling a machine? The math doesn't lie.